Welcome back to Draftstack. My name is Nick Thomas. I'm here today with Alex Toohey of the Sydney Kings, one of the top prospects out of Australia right now. Alex, thank you for your time, man. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
All right, that's great. So look, man, you just capped off a fantastic season, and obviously it didn't end the way you wanted, falling short in the play-in qualifier. But you saw like improvements across the board, not only like statistically but visually, um, with like with a much larger role. And how are you feeling about your growth over the last season?
Yeah, I feel good. I think, like you said, the result at the end wasn't there, but I think I ticked a lot of boxes in showing what I'm capable of, and obviously had ups and downs, but that's a part of the process with everyone. So yeah, overall pretty happy, and felt like I definitely got better each day and enjoyed the whole thing. So yeah, happy with it.
I am personally, Alex, like especially the back end of the season, I saw like improvements for you defensively on and off the ball. Was there something in particular that kind of went into that, or was it just kind of something that clicked?
I think it's a combination. I feel like I was more comfortable in just my role with the team, and obviously being a second year of anything, you're more familiar with stuff. So I think that was a big part of it. And then I feel like that's more of my natural game, is being disruptive on defense and kind of being able to create stuff and being able to find opportunities on defense. And I think that's something I got back to doing more this second year, being more comfortable and kind of understanding defensive schemes and all that sort of stuff now. So I think, I kind of just went out there and used my length a bit better and got a lot stronger and a lot faster in the off season, which definitely helped. But overall, I just feel like I kind of clicked and was finding ways to, influence the game on defense.
Was there any like thing in particular that helped you kind of get to the point where it clicking with the schemes and being able to understand what's going on a bit better? Was there a certain coach that helped you out, or was it just a certain play you watch? What was it? Would you say?
I think it's a combination. I liked watching Dyson a lot and saw him over the off season and got to see what he's doing in person. And obviously, defensive player of the year right now. So
Absolutely, I was about to say that.
yeah, so it's cool to see that. And then I think it's just you can't obviously it's good to be a good defender, but being an athlete definitely helps with that. And the other part as well is no matter how athletic you are or how fast you are on defense, it's about how fast you can make decisions. So felt like I was definitely faster in my decision making this year on defense and was able to read where the ball was going to go and had more of an idea about kind of people's tendencies and stuff. So that definitely helped me a lot. So yeah, I think it's a mixture of a lot of things, but I think overall just being more comfortable.
For sure, for sure. You mentioned Dyson and spending some time with him in person. Is there anyone else that you've sort of met over the last 24 months as a next star that's sort of helped you in that way, like another player? Obviously, Australia right now, in terms of like NBA players, is booming. Right, I don't think we've ever seen this many Australian players in the NBL, NBA, and we just saw Taron Armstrong go over. Is there anyone in particular that you've met that's really helped you out?
I think Joe Ingles is a big one for me. Obviously one of those guys you kind of idolized growing up and playing a similar position to me and kind of seeing the things that he does with the ball in his hands. And obviously his shooting ability is one of the things he's best at. But I think just talking to him and having those conversations about what his off seasons look like and his day-to-day habits and the things that he does to make sure he's successful when he's on the court. I think that was cool to understand, and kind of how he just dove into playing a role in the NBA. I think it's cool to see, and talking about no matter what happens when you get there, it's probably not going to be a massive role. It's basically shoot threes and play defense. But talk to me about how after you prove that you can do those things, you'll get a few more opportunities on offense and maybe start out with one on ball a game. And if you make the right reads, it'll slowly start to increase until that develops into a major offensive role. So I think it's just understanding what it can definitely look like in the future with if I get drafted, what it'll be shifting into a team that has superstars and being able to fit in and hopefully kind of be at that level one day. But it's just that understanding of what it takes to be at the next level and what it takes to stay there as well.
For sure. Did you spend time with Joe, like working on your shot? Because obviously this season, your shooting like hit a whole nother level, right? I believe it's gone up by like 6 percentage points on a higher volume, which is, you don't often see someone increase both in efficiency and volume in the same season at your age, right? So did you spend any time with him working on your shot?
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to join in the Boomers camp before they went over to the Olympics, and got to see him there. And I feel like a big thing with me is just seeing basketball and seeing players that you want to try and emulate one day, and just you absorb stuff, and I think your body naturally kind of tries to replicate what they do. And I think just being around it and seeing it was definitely helpful for me. And from then, just having that connection and being able to talk to him and reach out with questions as well.
That's great. That's great, man. Your growth was also commended by the NBL itself. You won the NBL 25 Next Gen Award. What does winning that kind of award mean to you? Obviously, you put a lot of work into improving, and to have it kind of recognized like that on a pretty global stage.
It was cool. I probably wasn't expecting it. I thought Taron had a great year, and kind of, yeah, towards that back end was playing at a super high level. And obviously he's at that NBA level now. So, I mean, yeah, happy to receive it. But I think the awards are cool, but I think it's even more cool just understanding day to day that I improved and had successful habits. And I feel like now it's not so much about draft rankings and kind of all that stuff. It's just about getting better. And I feel like now I'm definitely ready to make that next leap. And I think, yeah, once we get over there, I'm definitely going to turn a few heads. So yeah, just excited for it. And obviously cool to be recognized and kind of join some elite companies. So yeah, happy with it.
Yeah, man, I love the confidence. When I spoke to you this before the NBL 25 season, you had just withdrawn your name from about a month before. You'd withdrawn your name from the 2024 NBA drafts, and were preparing for the NBL 25 season in order to hit that next level and guarantee your spot in the 2025 NBA drafts. Um, you said your goal was to be drafted this year. Will you be officially declaring?
Yeah, I think I'll obviously see what the next little while looks like and kind of speak to people around me, but it's definitely something that I'd be looking to do.
Right, right. Oh, well, I mean, you've got about 90 days between now and the draft, should you declare, um, without any games left to play. So what's your plan between now and then?
It'll be a mixture of a lot of training and a lot of weights, and making sure my body's right, making sure my mind's right, and trying to develop as a basketball player. But I'll do a bunch of training here in Australia and a lot of one-on-one and stuff, and build up my footwork, and playing some 5-on-5 stuff as well with some NBL talent and some open runs here, which would be good. And then head over and get with my trainer and just, yeah, really dial in the things that the scout's going to be looking for, and just making sure I'm feeling good for when the time comes.
Is there anything in particular that you're really going to be working on? Like say last season, you really working on shooting, obviously. Is there like a certain skill you're really keying in on over the next 90 days?
I feel like it's going to be a mixture. I think obviously every player is going to say they're working on their shot in the off season, so I feel like that's probably the boring answer, but that'll definitely be a big part of it. And then I think just kind of being quick with the ball in my hands and trying to speed up my feet. I think being able to be a better defender against guards is a big thing for me, and something I think I'm capable of. So I think just refining that. And then offensively, I feel like it's that finishing package and understanding I'm going to be playing as bigger bodies. So probably finding that middle game, that floater game, and kind of that Luka footwork he has when he's not quite got a layup, but he's kind of figuring his way out in the middle of the key. So they're two things that I'm probably most excited about working on top of, obviously you got to be a well-rounded player to make it, but they're probably the keys I'm focusing on.
For sure, for sure. Like as of now, barring something pretty catastrophic, you seem a pretty sure bet to hear your name called in June. Once you reach the NBA, what's kind of your goal over that first season? And I guess the short-term future beyond that.
After I'm drafted, it'll probably be I mean, it's obviously pretty boring to hear, but just finding successful daily habits. And uh, I think it's one of those things where obviously there's different scenarios of where you go to a team and you're probably playing in the G League a lot more, or teams where you could get called up and play a lot in the NBA. So I think it's just making sure I'm developing each day and learning from the people that are around me and trying to figure out my role in the team and just, I mean, try and help them win. I think it's probably winning's probably the most important thing for a lot of these teams that are drafting players. And it's obviously cool to be drafted super high and probably play on one of those teams that are not as great, and definitely looking for that superstar, but at the same time playing on a well-rounded team that I feel like I could definitely influence as well as something that would excite me too. So it's, I think it's something that obviously you got to see what the situation is where you're at and kind of understand what role you might slot into. But I think it's just being a good player for whatever team picks me up.
Who do you most aim to emulate? Not just in terms of like play style, but in terms of the actual impact you hope to have across your career, and especially in the first few years. Like say that rookie contract, so the first like 4 years or so.
It's a good question. I think I'll probably just name a lot of players and let you kind of pick which parts you see of each. So probably stay Joe Ingles, Manu Ginobili, Austin Reeves, and Gordon Hayward and Franz Wagner. Bunch of big white guys. So,
It's a talented bunch. Has something even going.
take your pick out of those guys and take what you like. But I think if I could have bits and pieces from those guys' games, and probably forgot Luca as well. But yeah, try and yeah, man. Obviously not as a point guard and not at that, hopefully at that level, but just his angles and his finishes and stuff is something that is very fascinating to me, and it's obviously successful.
All right. Well, I got one final question for you. So in about 2 months, you'll no doubt be in like a flurry of pre-draft interviews with teams. If you could have NBA executives know one thing about you, like one cool fact or whatever, what would that be?
Such a hard question. I'm going to guess they probably already figured out whatever it is, because I've heard the NBA go pretty in depth with their background checks and their personnel checks. So they probably know more about me than myself, honestly. But one thing that I'd want them to know, I think that I'm capable of playing the 1, 2, 3, or 4 in the right situation. I think, 1 to 4, I feel like I can play those roles at different teams. So yeah, let's just go with that.
Right, so you're trying to be as versatile as possible, fill as many roles as possible. I like that. That's cool. All right, well, Alex, man, thanks for your time, man. You're obviously a pretty busy guy, especially down this time of year for the draft. So I appreciate your time. And maybe another time we can chop it up.
Of course. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.